Season's greetings, YouTube friends.
In this video, I just want to do two things primarily. I want to read a page and a half from the little booklet that I received. You guys know which booklet I'm talking about, I'm sure by now. And I also want to share something on YouTube. It's a beautiful tribute that was made to Robert Kennedy, not Jr., but Robert Kennedy Sr. So I'm going to go ahead and read the page and a half from the book first, and then we'll go from there. And also, I just want to say that for some reason, I kind of feel like it's getting like harder for me to make videos because I feel like I get nervous is what starts happening, and then I start to stumble on my words. And so then I stop and I start over, and then I stop and I start over again. And then, 3, 4, and 5 times later, I end up just kind of getting discouraged altogether, and then I don't follow through and make a video. So if I stumble on my words, I'm just going to have to push through it as best I can, because in all actuality, in my mind, the whole reason for me to have this channel and to make the videos is because I'm trying to support Robert Kennedy Jr. for his candidacy for president. So I have to just keep that in mind and just push myself through it. So I'm gonna read a page and a half from this little book, this book that I'm sharing with everyone. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick up where I left off, which was right here. Now I have figured out that this is the this young man, Teddy Macker. He's speaking here. So he says, as a cradle Catholic who was drunk on raptors myself, I confess to being susceptible to such information. I kind of can relate to that because he says here that he himself is a cradle Catholic, and I also am a cradle Catholic. Now, for those of you who are not Catholic, all that means is that a cradle Catholic is somebody who was, as an infant, baptized into the Catholic faith. That's all that means. You can be a cradle Catholic like myself, or you can be a convert into the Catholic faith. So, okay, so this is a drawing of Robert Kennedy Jr., and he is into, what do they call it? I'm not sure what they call the sport, but he has a love for falcons. Okay, so I'm going to go on to read this. It says, but what moves? But what moves me more is the second half of life, spirituality described in another recent online interview. Interviewing Mr. Kennedy and Ms. Cheryl Hines, Mr. Kennedy's wife, writer and podcaster Kathy Heller asks how Mr. Kennedy managed to find his way after the murders of his father and uncle, his, to use Ms. Heller's words, two greatest role models. How, she inquires, did these two seminal events make you into the person you are today? Mr. Kennedy answers by first saying, my father's life had more of an impact on me than his death, and my uncle as well. Then perhaps perfunctorily, perhaps shrewdly, Mr. Kennedy adds, I feel very fortunate. My mom always said if she heard anybody feeling sorry for themselves, everybody takes their licks. My mom always said if she heard anybody feeling sorry for themselves, everybody takes their licks. Okay, that's his mother, Ethel Kennedy, that said that. Okay, so you guys were lucky, which we were. When children in Watts or Appalachia, Mr. Kennedy then points out, lose their fathers, they don't have the resources he had. And then Mr. Kennedy lists those resources: a huge supportive family, religion, a good education. Mr. Kennedy admits that because of his name, he was afforded entrance into the college of his choice, and a legacy that made sense out of the chaos. Then Mr. Kennedy drops into a different register. He speaks of a novel, The Plague, by Albert Camus. His father gave to him with uncharacteristic urgency 2 weeks before he was assassinated in Los Angeles. Mr. Kennedy says he's read the book many times over to decipher what his father wanted to tell him. In another interview with David Samuels of Tablet magazine, Mr. Kennedy says he wondered of the book what was the lock that this was the key for. In an interview with Ms. Heller, Mr. Kennedy recounts the novel's plot. A doctor is living in an unnamed North African city that is being ravaged by an unknown disease. The infection rate is high, the fatality rate is high, and there's no known treatment. The only way to stay safe is to stay locked up. And the novel's first half, Mr. Kennedy tells us, concerns the doctor's dilemma. Does he stay safe in quarantine and do nothing to help, or does he leave quarantine to try to help, but probably end up doing nothing and likely die? I guess I'll read this page too. In the end, Mr. Kennedy says he goes out and consoles people, and that act, that sacrifice he makes of doing his duty, brings order to the chaos of the universe. Mr. Kennedy continues, Camus was an existentialist. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to say this word. A legatee of the Stoics. And the big hero of the Stoics was Sisyphus. And Sisyphus did an act that caused him to be cursed by the gods to push a stone up a hill for all eternity. And he would get to the top of the hill, but he would never be able to get it over. It would always roll back on him, and then he would have to do it again. But in the minds of the Stoics, Sisyphus was a happy man because he put his shoulder to the wheel. He knew what his duty was, and he did it. And that is how we contribute to the order of the universe. It is a privilege to have a duty that I am supposed to do. The way I live my life is to never make predictions and have no expectations, because if you don't have expectations, you never get disappointed. The only thing I have control over is my own conduct in this little piece of real estate inside my own shoes. Okay, so I'm going to finish there, and then I want to show you guys where to find this beautiful tribute to his father, Bobby Kennedy's father. So there it is. If you go on YouTube, it's called, it's this one over here. It's called Bobby Kennedy, Weight of the World. And I really want to encourage everybody who can to just watch this tribute. It's only 3 minutes and 23 seconds long. And I feel like if you see the tribute and realize that Bobby Kennedy Jr. had this for his father, it makes sense why and how Bobby Kennedy Jr. is the man that he is now, and also too with so much influence from his mother, Ethel Kennedy.
All right, you guys, I hope I get better at talking on videos. I don't know why I get nervous, but I do now.
But I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep pushing through it because, like I said at the beginning, my intention here is to support Bobby Kennedy for president. And that's all it is. That's all it's about. All right, bye, you guys. Take care of yourselves.